went blind on purpose.
Is about having a car wreck and becoming paraplegic from a car wreck.
The leg, I'd like it to be amputated.
I really felt the need to be blind.
Transabled person, or otherwise known as BIID, is the belief that they are handicapped, or they wish so badly that they want to become handicapped that they will do ridiculous things like cut off limbs or purposely blind themselves. To me and you, this sounds absolutely crazy, and it kind of is, right? Who in their right mind would want to purposely make themselves disabled so they'd have to use a wheelchair or a blind stick for the rest of their lives? Well, apparently there are people out there that dream about this, that look at somebody that is blind and think, gosh, they're so lucky, I wish that was me.
I have fantasies about having a car wreck and becoming paraplegic from a car wreck.
In today's video, I thought we could have a little deep dive and watch some of these people that have these incredible thoughts and try and deep dive behind the minds of these people so we can get a better understanding on why they think the way that they do. Starting with a woman called Chloe. At first, it may seem that she's in a wheelchair and has no other option, but this couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, she can run, ski, and walk perfectly fine, has absolutely nothing wrong with her, but she wishes on a daily basis and fantasizes about being in a car crash and losing the ability to walk and losing her limbs, to the point where she's actually talking to people and doctors around the world to maybe even get both of her legs amputated, as a YouTube channel called Truly documented.
Chloe Jennings White spends her days confined to a wheelchair. It's tough to get around, and she struggles with living in a world that isn't built for the disabled. However, Chloe is actually able to walk perfectly, and chooses to live her life like a paraplegic, due to a rare psychological disorder called BIID.
So, we know it's a psychological disorder, but what does BIID actually mean? And what are the symptoms?
I don't know if you've ever heard of people in the trans-abled community. These are people who are physically able-bodied but feel like they should be disabled or identify as such. For example, a man who has 2 arms but feels like he should have 1. If a man in this kind of marginalized community went to the doctor and said, I want to have my arm cut off.
That's someone who has and I'll accept it as a mental diagnosis, a psychiatric condition. I don't even pretend to know what aptomenophilia is all about. But somehow it's the idea that you're fascinated or charmed by having a limb or part of a limb missing.
BIID has led Chloe, a Cambridge University educated research scientist, to harm herself in a bid to become paraplegic for real.
I have fantasies about having a car wreck and becoming paraplegic from a car wreck.
Perhaps most shockingly of all, London-born Chloe is on a quest to find a surgeon willing to operate in order to paralyse her legs forever.
It's just so insane to me that a lot of these people end up not just thinking about it, but actually going through and trying to do this as well, right? Like making the appointment, talking to the people, and then booking it and going through. Also, it kind of like argues the question on what kind of a surgeon would do something like that. Is there any kind of money that they can pay to actually have that done in the first place? Or do you reckon every single hospital would probably not allow them to do something like this? Because walking into a hospital with a perfectly able body with nothing wrong with you, asking the doctor to be amputated, it's a little fucking weird. And I honestly don't think a lot of doctors would go through with it. You're probably gonna have to pay for some dodgy doctor on Craigslist.
Forever.
I did find a surgeon in another country who would be prepared to do femoral and sciatic nerve transections to paralyze my legs. It would be at least $25,000. I don't have the money to do it.
Don't worry. I'm sure a GoFundMe page would suit you very well. Imagine seeing something like that on GoFundMe, asking to have your legs amputated. Why? What's wrong? Oh no, nothing's wrong. I just don't want them anymore. Legs? Ugh. No, thank you. Also, what did I tell you? I bet it's from a weird country as well, like that most people have never heard of. Probably like Madagascar or something. Deep within the jungle, there's a doctor willing to do it for the right price of 20,000 simoleons.
It's basically the only reason that I've not yet had surgery.
For her whole life, Chloe has wished more than anything that she was disabled.
From about 10 years old, I somehow got the idea to bandage my legs when I was home alone so nobody would know what I was doing. I sort of fabricated a leg brace so that I couldn't bend my knee. And walking around like that felt, oh wow, this is how it's supposed to be.
Chloe
Yes, in a big metal object while you wheel yourself around is the way it's the way you're supposed to live life. It's the way you're supposed to experience life, guys.
struggled to cope with her feelings.
For a long time, I had no idea why I felt this way about my legs.
Chloe only began to get real relief from her condition when she started using a wheelchair full-time in 2008.
When you have BID, the stress is really intense. The first few friends I told, I would literally be shaking and crying even with emotion. I was not really living a normal life before that. It was always in my mind. It's like, I'm supposed to be paralyzed.
But while Chloe pursues her quest to have surgery that will leave her paraplegic, she loves taking part in her favourite pastime, downhill skiing.
Ah, yes. Everybody's favorite sport when they're in a wheelchair. Skiing. The best sport while being disabled, may I add. Yeah, guys, honestly, I just wanted to be disabled ever since I can remember. But boy, oh boy, do I love skiing. She really just threw in a spanner into the works there. Kind of caught me off guard. She was starting to grip me with her sad story about coming out, telling her friends. I was like, you know what? Might actually be something behind this. I'm kind of feeling for the woman a little bit here. This is honestly really bang. Skiing. The next shot is her epically skiing down the mountainside while using her legs.
Skiing is essential to me. It carries a lot of benefits for me in terms of BID. I ski very aggressively. If it's a groomed run, I will absolutely go as fast as I can. My friends and family can get a little worried about me skiing sometimes because they know that I ski very aggressively.
I couldn't imagine why they were probably worried. It's not like we have the perfect combination here for a disaster. Someone that wants to be disabled and skiing recklessly. I'm no mathematician, guys, but that doesn't equal a good result. I'm just saying.
And, you know, they know it's in the back of my mind that I actually want to get injured.
To deal with the anxiety BID causes her, Chloe sees psychotherapist Dr. Mark Mallon as often as she can.
The problem that I run into is that people make up these fantasies about BID. Like they say, oh, well, you're doing it to get disability benefits. You're doing it to get attention. And then you say, no, that's not it. And then they'll come up with another fantasy of theirs.
So it sounds...
You say that, but I'm just saying it wouldn't hurt to get a parking badge. I've recently just moved to North America and holy shit, your car parks are pretty big. I just about get my 10,000 steps in, going from the car as I walk to Walmart. Hey, I might take up BID at this point, to be honest with you. In all honesty, I can see why people probably think that way. But as you're going to see in the next few videos, there are people that actually take it a lot more further than this. Yes, it's all very well having these thoughts in the back of your mind and skiing silly and ruthlessly. But generally, there's people that actually do take it a lot more seriously. As you're about to see in this next clip, a woman that goes by the name of Jewel actually took it to the extreme. She felt the need that she didn't want to use her eyes anymore and has the same condition as Chloe. The only difference is she actually went through with it and ending up blinding herself.
9 years ago, Jewel took the drastic decision to blind herself, and she researched the method she would use.
I found that lye is very painful, although it does get the job done. I found that drain cleaner is a little less painful, although it does a lot of damage to the eye. Because drain cleaner was easily available to me, I went with that.
No jokes here. Like, generally, imagine wanting to go blind that bad, you end up using bleach. Drain cleaner. I feel like in these extreme cases, though, you can't help but feel quite sad for these people. I know at the end of the day it was the person that did it themselves, but the fact that they have these thoughts so badly that they're willing to take such drastic actions as this is kind of scary to me.
She found a psychologist willing to help her, and after 2 weeks of working together to make sure she was ready, they carried out Jules' plan.
I laid down on the sofa and he sat next to me. 2 drops into each eye. My eyes were screaming. I had some drain cleaner going down my cheek, burning my skin. In the moment, all I could think of was, I'm going blind, it's gonna be okay.
Not necessarily the sentence I would say to calm myself down personally. It's okay, guys, I'm going blind. Everything's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. I don't mean to laugh, but I just, having said that sentence out loud while trying to calm myself, I feel like that would send me through the fucking roof. Holy, I mean, could you imagine? Sorry, don't calm down. You're going to go blind. You'll be fine. That does take the pressure off. Where the hell did she get her friends from? Is that a good friend because they were willing to help you with this? Or is that a bad friend? Or maybe the friend has like psychopathic tendencies.
Oh yeah, I'll do it.
He seemed a little bit too keen to go through with this. I'm just saying, if my friends begged me, I don't think I could. Just generally don't feel, no, I'm good. I'll take a pass on that one.
After waiting half an hour to make sure the damage was done, the psychologist took Jewel to hospital, where doctors fought to save her sight.
Half an hour? Oh my god. That's just trying to think about that too, right? A half an hour with that in your eyes. Forget the challenge that used to be on YouTube where you hold some ice and salt and squeeze it for a few seconds. This challenge is kind of an extreme. Also, could she not have told the doctors, don't worry? Did they really have to try to do that? I'm just saying, it probably would have ended up a lot cheaper for Jewel just to be like, you know what, it's fine.
When I woke up the following day, I was joyful until I turned on my back, opened my eyes, and could see the TV screen.
Oh, that's not ideal, is it? Again, while watching this, it just sounds so strange to me. Like, I was upset that I could see again. Especially like something like sight. That is so important to have, obviously. It's one of your senses. Kind of something important, right? I mean, the arm or leg makes a little bit more sense to me, I guess. But something like your eyesight trying to get rid of, I really can't wrap my head around that. On why someone would actually want to do something like that. And then they do this, and then they wake up the next day and they can still see, and they're still pissed off. They're actually mad about that. You know, I would have thought at that point in time, she would have had some realization. Wait, no, I'm glad I can see. That was stupid. I don't know why I did that for. But no, she doubled down.
I was so enraged, and I thought that it hadn't worked. Then over about 6 months, the sight in both eyes slowly went away. I was so happy. I felt that this was who I was supposed to be.
It's incredibly sad that people go through this and feel the need that they have to take these drastic actions because of the way they feel about this. Feeling the way that they should have been blind from the get-go. Like I said, I'm finding it really hard to wrap my head around this. But there's still one more story left, which takes a bit more of a darker turn with a man that's wanting to cut off his own leg so desperately that he's gone to loads of people and is trying to find out ways on how to do it himself. And this is his story.
For me, the map stops on the right leg 3 inches from the hip. It manifests in an itch. It would be the equivalent of someone who is whole growing an extra limb. It does not belong there.
So they clearly feel so deeply that they almost feel kind of disgusted when they have an extra limb. It's like an itch to just instantly get it removed as quickly as possible. So bad, in fact, that later on in the video, he actually describes to us some of the ways that he's tried to take his own leg off.
Myself, a few times, by injecting medical grade alcohol into the limb, but there was intense pain. More pain than I anticipated because you could actually feel the alcohol drying up the muscles. There was a sense of feeling of success. You couldn't move it, but after 8 hours, it was fine.
He then later goes on and talks about how he found someone that would be willing to do the procedure to completely remove his leg, but then in the end he just ended up getting scammed for £20,000, which for my American audience is around about $23,500. So it's definitely not a few pennies. But again, for a lot of us, this would be an absolute nightmare. And probably couldn't think of anything worse than having a limb chopped off. But this guy is willing to pay some serious money for it, which is just, like I said, crazy.
I got put in contact with a man who was regarded as what's called a gatekeeper, and he knows the names of surgeons who are willing to do an amputation for a set fee, and what they would do then is they would give you documentation to say it was an accident. I paid this man in total just shy 20 grand. Turned out to be a massive scam.
I'm finding this video actually a lot harder to make than all the previous ones. Because don't get me wrong, there are kind of some funny parts, right? Especially to the earlier bit where the woman hasn't actually done anything to her body and is in the wheelchair but then goes skiing on the weekend. Right, like that's kind of a bit of a silly moment. And I honestly thought that's what this video would be. Just like watching these people that are kind of a little bit insane, wanting to do these insane things that me and you just can't understand. But just maybe because we can't understand, it shouldn't necessarily be a thing that we're making fun of. And that's why I'm finding it kind of hard to even make commentary towards the end of these videos, because I personally don't even know what to say. It's kind of sad that a lot of them feel this way and they need to do all this, like I've already said. But then at the same time, they just don't really have a whole lot of options. I didn't even know this was an actual diagnosis or a real thing until today. Let me know if you guys did either. Like I said, it's kind of interesting to hear about these types of things. And it is kind of interesting at the end of the day to hear these stories and to spread awareness on this kind of stuff. I'm sure there are people out there that probably do this kind of stuff for scamming, right? Like, it's the perfect excuse, right? To be in a wheelchair, maybe beg for money. But then when I watch like videos like this where they're not doing that, and again, especially the woman, she just straight up literally put bleach in her eyes. And for me personally, the only time I've ever come close to that is when I say I need to wash my eyes with bleach after being on TikTok for more than 2 minutes. But that's really the closest I've come to actually doing it. And it's more of a joke. I don't really mean it. Unless I'm watching about 5 minutes, then I probably would consider it yes. But again, let me know in the comments down below. Did you know this was a real thing? Have you seen this video before? Is there any other stories out there? Let me know in the comments down below. And anyway, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed this video. A little bit of a different kind of thing on this channel. And I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye, my children. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.